What's up guys, it's Rowan here from Smart TV. One of the things that I see every single year with HSC students is what we call the boom and bust cycle. And what that looks like is at the start of the term, students are pretty chilled, assessment results come, crazy amount of work, last minute cramming, assessment ends, and then it's a bust. Students collapse, exhausted, and do no work for a couple of weeks in recovery. Now, that boom bust cycle is the cycle we tend to see for students that are, doing okay. They might be getting solid 80% results, but it isn't the cycle that we see for students that are really excelling in their subjects. And so today I'm going to be chatting with Blaze, who is a student that I think recognized the challenges of the boom versus bust cycle across a term and used a very different approach that I think played out in a really powerful way for the results that Blaze created in his life. So let's jump in and have a chat to Blaze to find out what his approach was and how it was different to the typical boom versus bust cycle we see over a school term. So welcome Blaze, how are you going?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, I'm well. So now, one of the things I know we were just chatting about was that you have an interesting idea about breaks.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we were just talking about that boom versus bust, the bust period is where at the end of a term students tend to take these quite long breaks. Yeah. What was your approach to breaks during year 12?
Well, at the beginning of year 12, I'd be like everybody else. Like, I'd work extremely hard, and then it'd come the assessment time, and everything just finishes, and then it's like a break. And then I always say, oh yeah, I just finished my assessment, so like 1 week break, and then it'd be back to another week, and then I say, oh, maybe just 1 more week break because it's there. And then I've taken like a whole month off, and I'm behind on all my notes and everything, and then I have to cram up to all my assessments again.
And so then it'd be more tiring the next term, wouldn't it?
Exactly. And then I just did like a longer break the next time. So I think what I realized is like you can't have these breaks, like, because it's much easier to study in small sessions, like and consistently, rather than just cramming up to the actual test. And it feels better as well, and you have more time for other things. Yeah.
So then, just to dig into this, so what you would do then, so that was the first term. It was, you did the assessment, the collapse, the month off, you fell behind. What then did consistent work look like? So second term, okay, when you had that, so you worked, like, did you start work more consistently at the beginning of term, for example?
I began to like really get into my rhythm near the end of the term.
Okay, and so then, this is of term 2 though, correct? Yeah. And so then you had the assessment, and then rather than drop off and take a month off, what did you do? How did you handle that?
Well, I did take a little bit of a break, but it wasn't like a full-on, just Netflix all the time break. It was like I would sit down and maybe I just think about and just do extra readings. Maybe I didn't have to take notes, but just readings through, as I said before, university papers, or just reading through your textbooks or reading through your notes, just to make sure you don't forget that understanding. You're constantly just thinking about it as well.
Okay, so what's important here is that you did take a little break. It wasn't like you didn't break at all.
Yeah, exactly.
You took a little break, and I'll come back and ask a little bit more about that in a moment. But it sounds like what you then did was you knew that you might not have had the energy to do like hard work, but you knew that you needed to stay consistent. Yes. So it sounds like what you ended up choosing was some things that you could do that were easier, right? Like reading, reviewing stuff, refreshing, so that you could at least stay fresh, right? Keep stuff in your memory, but not completely not do anything. So it was sort of like this balance of balancing your energy, right, with actually balancing the need to do some ongoing work. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
So it's almost like, if we take an analogy for a moment, if you just did a huge marathon, right, or you had a big event, a big performance, instead of doing nothing for a month after and just sleeping and recovering, it was like taking a couple of days off and then going for a light run. Right, yeah, exactly. Or a walk even, okay, just to get your body moving again. So it's essentially the equivalent of what you're doing for your study.
Yes, it was, yeah.
Now, what did your break look like? You got those assessments done, you handed them in, end of term. What did that break look like? That new type of break, not the one from first term.
It was a lot better. So I still had time for personal activities. So I would go out, I'd spend time with my dog, spend time with my family, spend time with some friends. Play a couple games every now and then. But then, so that was sort of my break.
And you would do that for like a week, 3 days?
It would only be for like 2 or 3 days at max, and then I'd go back into sort of the reading as well. And the reading would probably last for like until like the next week afterwards, and then you get back into,
So it's like a ramp up. So it's like a 3-day sort of period where you would re-energize, do some stuff that you loved, friends, family, games, dog, whatever. And then you would have a ramp up of reading, and then I've sort of like warmed up a little bit again. Then I'll put a more difficult level of sort of work that I need to do, and it was then a ramp back up. But it happened quite quickly after that period.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't expect to work yourself 100% of the time because that's like unrealistic. And it's like by the time HSC comes, you're gonna be like all burned out. But I think many people, they like to take breaks, like a lot. Like they take like a couple weeks break, and they don't like want to study. But I think what you have to remember is that as soon as HSC is finished, like especially leading up to the HSC test and after trials, because everyone thinks, oh yeah, trials is over, I'm done, let's go. And then I think what you have to remember is that after HSC, you have like 8 or like 10 weeks of break to just sit around and do nothing at all. So look forward to that, because the break is going to feel a lot better if you work hard and you take it easy instead of just taking it easy the whole way.
So then a couple of things I just want to highlight and share so that people understand. First of all, how did you end up going ATAR-wise at the end of the journey?
I'm 95.8.
Awesome. And so, what are you studying this year? You're studying at university this year now?
Yes, I am. I'll be doing honours of architecture at Sydney Uni.
Cool, awesome. And that was your goal course, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So just a quick summary, and I want to ask another question here. You ended up getting a 95 plus ATAR, you ended up getting into your goal course, architecture at USyd. What extracurriculars or co-curriculars did you maintain over year 12?
So I dropped a lot of them. For example, I dropped my music, but I kept all my athletic stuff, which it did take time out, but it was a good release.
So what sort of stuff, what athletic stuff were you doing?
So it was just all the school events, because I didn't have time for extra competitive events. So there was the cross country and all the track and field events that I was doing.
Awesome. And were you training for that then during the week as well?
Yes, I was. So it would be like around 2 to 3 hours of training, and that included the transport to like squads and stuff like that.
And then were you still playing hockey during year 12?
Yeah, I was still playing hockey as well. Yeah, but the training that coincided with some hockey sessions as well. So unfortunately, I didn't have to go to the hockey training sessions, but I still had the game. So most days, because I had squad training on Saturday, and then I also had hockey games afterwards, my Saturday would be all gone except for like after 7 p.m.
Okay. Yeah. So just to highlight here, because I think this is really important, because I think what I really liked about the journey that you took during the HSC, Blaze, was that you stayed really healthy. Like you kept your extracurriculars and co-curriculars. Yeah, you cut a couple back, but you kept some important ones. You changed your relationship with the boom versus bust cycle. Yes. And it sounds like the outcome of that was, you got through it healthy, right? You got a great ATAR, you got the goal course that you wanted to.
Yes, exactly.
And that was with a Saturday every week gone.
Yeah.
With extracurricular, with sport and so forth commitments. And how many evenings during the week did you have commitments?
It was most evenings actually, because unless I trained in the morning, which was really rare, but it was most evenings. So I think it was every Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday and Friday that I had.
Yeah. So in short, what I'm hearing is that you were basically training 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And all Saturdays were gone.
Yeah.
Okay. And with that, you were still able to do incredibly well in your HSC, right? Get a bunch of band 6s, score a 95 plus ATAR, and get your goal ATAR, which I think is really, really incredible. Yeah. So I want to ask a question here, because I think this is quite unusual. Like I think a lot of people really buy into I should quit a lot of stuff, and maybe I should have one extracurricular pursuit and that's it. And clearly, you've had a lot going on, despite you going, it wasn't that much. Yeah. How did you maintain all of that? How were you managing your time to make all of that possible?
So most lunch times and recesses, I would eat food obviously, but I would go and spend it in the library, just making sure that I can write up all my notes, because writing your notes up at home does take time, especially with all the distractions as well. And so that means when I got home, I could focus on doing past papers and just like the test revision stuff. And I think every day, especially leading up to the HSC and trials, when you have the STUVAC, I would have like a plan of what I wanted to complete each day. For example, be like, when I wake up today, not as soon as I do it, but sometime today I want to go for 10-kilometer run, or I want to do like one maths past paper, I want to do one English essay, I want to do like one physics extended responses and stuff like that. So and I think having that in your mind, it makes you get things done. And then I think that's very important to just having that sort of consistent work ethic throughout the whole time.
Yeah, awesome. So it sounds like, yes, it was very much a matter of using the time at school effectively, so that you could then do some really critical tasks in the smaller amount of time that you had at home.
Yes.
Because obviously you had less time at home each night because other students might be getting and doing study, but you would have some training.
Yeah.
And so it was using that time effectively, but then also by being consistent and not doing the boom versus bust, you were able to create that time over the course of the entirety of year 12.
Yeah, exactly. And I think just with the extracurricular activities, people say, oh, extracurricular takes out time, but it's sort of a way to get away from all the studying and stuff like that. It sort of gives you that break, so that means when you finish your exams, you don't have to take the extra long week break that everyone else does. You can only take a 3-day break. Because like if you're going out maybe every 2 to 3 hours each day, and you're just going out and doing something that's completely non-school related, you come back and you're refreshed and you're ready to study again. So I think it's also very important to have that consistent work ethic, but also have the consistent break as well.
And so it sounds like you're recommending that every student should maintain some form of, co-curricular, extracurricular activity?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Whether that's just like going to the gym a couple of days a week, I think that's very important, yeah.
Awesome. And then, do you have any final advice you'd like to share, Blaze, for HSC students, who are navigating the challenges of year 12?
Yes, I think it's very important to maintain a good work ethic and work hard throughout the year, but like there's a fine line between working hard and overworking yourself. And when you overwork yourself, that's when you need that boom and bust stuff, when you need that extra 2 weeks break at the end, and it sort of just throws you out. So consistent work every day, but not over. Don't overdo it. Just exactly. Awesome. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Fantastic. So there you've heard it, guys. One, it is possible to maintain quite a considerable number of co-curricular and extracurricular activities and still do incredibly well and achieve your goals. And secondly, we've also really heard, how you can go about doing this, right? One, that you do need to avoid the boom and bust cycle, and we do need to create an extra level of consistency in what you are doing. And then finally as well, we've really heard from Blaze why the extracurriculars are actually so critical in ensuring that you can, keep your energy high and healthy over the course of the entirety of the journey that is year 12. Now look, if you do need any support in trying to navigate how you maintain your co-curricular activities, how you structure them, which ones you should keep or not keep, get in touch with us. We have our Pathfinder program that's designed at mentoring students to help you navigate that journey. Otherwise, all the best for your HSC as you navigate both the boom-bust cycle and your extracurricular activities.